Welcome to another episode of the Rugby Rookie. I have the pleasure of having Max Ouzts today. Max and I have known each other for the past actually 4 or 5 years now, and we coached against each other, especially from strength and conditioning. And Max is one of those genius guys. He eventually left and became the head of all strength and conditioning at Dakota State University, where he is at now. And so, Max, I want to first of all say thank you for the friendship all the years, but even more importantly, I'm just so amped for the things that you're doing over there. And welcome to the show.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. I wanna first start by kind of toning down the genius talk a little bit. I'm one of those guys that's constantly overwhelmed by what I don't know. So it's like the more you learn, the more you're like, man, there's a lot out there that I haven't touched on yet. But I do my best. Things are going well here at Dakota State, so I have no complaints there.
It has been fantastic because that's one thing that separates you from most folks that I've come across is your humility. Because in this realm, there is very few that I would say know more than you, and I know you're at forefront, and you'll never. I know that you'll never put yourself out there, but there was one poignant moment in our the time that we've known each other, and that was we had just beaten your team, and you came up to me and I go, "What are you guys doing for conditioning?" And so I asked, "Who is that guy?" And then Craig would go, "Oh, he's our strength and conditioning," and he gave the list of accomplishment. And he goes, "He's asking me for what?" And the open learning has always been one of your attributes that I have enjoyed. And how is it that that has served you in helping not only the athletes, but whoever else that you might be training?
Well, there's just so many ways to do it. There's so many different like systems and methodologies and stuff like that. And over the last 20 years too, the field has grown. Like there's been so much research has been done, so much new
Yeah.
technology has come out that like kind of a new way of doing things comes out every couple of months, it seems like. And it's
Yeah.
one of those things to where like I never want to be in a point where we've been doing a thing, whether it's been working or not, and not looking to improve it as we go. Right. And so
Right.
it's just that constant process of every time we finish a block or a program or a year or a season, looking back on it and just being like, what did we do well? What do you think we can improve on? What do we not do well? And a lot of that comes to just like learning about new techniques, new methods, talking to people about what they've done, and you go from there.
Yeah. Well, how did you get started in all this? I know you're an athletic kind of guy, but what led you to pursue the career? And then, if you wouldn't mind just telling us, how did you advance that?
So I was an athlete all through high school. And then when it came down to picking a major, like a lot of kids, you don't really know. You're 17, 18 years old. And I went with exercise physiology. So I
Mhm.
started in that in my sophomore year. First year, you do all the basics, right? Like your biology, chemistry, all that. Sophomore year, I had a class that was principles of strength and conditioning. And the
Oh,
second day of that class, we were in the textbook. I was like, I know, this is it.
yeah.
And from that point forward, it's been pretty focused on it. But I'm kind of glad that I had that moment of just like, as soon as I don't even remember the paragraph that I read, but as soon as I read it, I knew, and that was it. And I'm pretty head down in it from then on.
Man, and well, I love the system you created as well. So whenever I see the teams that you've coached, that system, I just done with the book Atomic Habits, and its habits are built upon the system, and that system is something that's lacking a lot of times that I've seen in a number of different teams I've seen. It's not just rugby, it's all over. How do you how do you have that conversation to get on the system? And if I can ask, if it's not secret sauce, what is your system?
Well, first getting there, well, with Eagle especially, I mean, I gotta say that I was a small part of that whole thing for some years. But most of the credit's got to go to all the guys that also helped build that. So, Craig
Yeah.
and Eli and Adam, Peter, Taylor before me, and then the guys that are there now, Casey. all those guys that build that and contribute to it now are like they're the ones making it work and they're the ones that committed to the system. And so
Yeah.
that's almost as important as having one in place. But from like a philosophy perspective, I kind of have two main points on that. Really, the first one, and this is really, really basic, is do what you think is going to work for the people you have in front of you. I
Mm,
mean, a
yeah.
lot of people like to make things really complicated, but like I said earlier, there's 100 different methods and systems and ways of doing things. And it's really about just like what do you think makes sense for the athletes that are in the room,
Yeah.
right? And there's a lot that goes into that. I mean, there's a lot of logistical context, like how many do you have? How much time do you have? What's their attitude towards the weight room? What sport is it? What equipment do you have? So all those different variables factor into it. But at the end of the day, it's just you got to pick something that is going to make sense and you
Yeah.
think you're going to get the most production out of. Second piece from like a main philosophy perspective is just like maximize productive effort. And I could
Yeah.
say minimize unproductive effort. It just doesn't flow as well.
Yep.
So like every time we go in there, every time we're doing training, and really this goes into practice and this goes into to anything that the athletes are doing is the only thing as coaches that we're asking from them is effort at the end of the
Hmm.
day.
Yeah.
And it's kind of our job to guide it and steer it and put it in a direction that makes it productive and they're actually getting something out of it.
Yeah.
So I'll use a quick example where I mentioned like the attitude of the athletes that you have towards the weight room before, right? If
Yeah.
I were a guy that was going to, if I was to say my whole program is based off barbell squatting, and
Hmm.
that's the biggest piece, and we're gonna do that. Everyone's gonna do it. Everyone's gonna do it every day. Depending on the team you might have, you might lose 50% of the athletes
Yeah.
mentally right away because
That
they
makes
might,
sense. Yeah.
yeah, there's a group that's gonna just hate doing that. And now their relationship with the weight room is going to be like, this is a bad time. I don't want to squat. I don't want to put a barbell on my back. I don't understand why it's helping me. And then you don't get they're going to put the effort in. They're going to show up. They're going to
Hmm.
do it. But like, how productive is that?
Right.
And so from what we try to do is we try to match like what makes sense for the athletes and then how do we maximize their effort in a way that it's actually productive and gets the things that we want to get done.
I like that a lot, especially since it caters to recognizing the different there are different attitudes out there. It's just working with what you've got. I appreciate that answer. Now I'm looking at, let's say that someone is building any sports team. I'll just use rugby since this is a rugby channel, right? What should I, as a fresh new coach that has never had strength and conditioning on a team, what should I consider first in order to build that foundation for my athletes?
I think the first thing, I mean, from a day one perspective, that's a tough question, and you're gonna have to feel out like
Yes.
what their attitude is, right?
Right.
But I think you can start with just some basic stuff,
Uh-huh.
try to get some like learning in, try to make it more like interactive and that kind of thing,
Mhm.
and try to do it in a way where they actually have some fun with it, if that makes sense.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
complete sense. Yeah.
from there, you can build on a lot. But I think if you just go into it day one, and like I said, I'm gonna keep using squat. I like
Yeah.
squatting, so I'm not trashing on it. But like I said, I think if you go in day one and you're like, we're gonna get this barbell, we're gonna put it on our back, and we're gonna do this, you might lose a lot of people right off the bat. So it's kind of
Sure.
a feeling out process. If you can make things a little bit more interesting, interactive, and fun those first couple days, first couple weeks, and
Mhm.
then you can move from there and kind of get into the more the meat and potatoes of what you want to.
Right, right. And that is one of the biggest problems I've seen is a lot of people don't even have that, especially the new players. They don't have the understanding or wherewithal of what to do with the bar or
Right.
anything, right?
And then one thing, I mean, you can do if you make things a little bit more interactive and fun those first couple times,
Yeah.
it serves multiple purposes because then you can get a gauge of what kind of athletes you have let's,
Yeah.
I mean, let's say you're doing like, let's play tag or let's do relay races or let's do something like that. I mean, you can kind of tell then what level you need to start at or which
Right.
group to start at what level. But if you kind of just go into it where, we are going to run this program, here's the barbell, let's go. It might take you some time to kind of figure out like what the needs of each athlete are, what the needs of each group are.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great point as well, because I remember when I first got into it, I was going, whoa, well, there's a lot of disparity here. And then just working with that disparity. Well, once they start to get into the rhythm of things, what do you typically do you use the same workouts throughout the month, or do you try to stagger them so it doesn't get so boring? And I'm asking this purely for selfish reasons, because I know that I've had to stagger, I've had to change, I've had to do those different things just to your point, keep that attention and keep the fun. It's been effective, but would love to get your take on that.
So it's going to depend on what level, not, I don't want to say level, but more like a training competency of the
Mhm.
athletes that you have. There's diminishing returns at a certain point. So when athletes start to get to a higher level, some of the basic stuff isn't going to work as well anymore. You're going to start getting
Yeah.
lower and lower return on that. But from my experience, and especially at the high school level, and here as well, I mean, we don't change things as much as people would think. And so if we're doing,
Uh,
I'm going to use one of our off seasons as an example. We've got a 24-week segment where we have off season time, right? And so
right.
what we're doing is 4 6-week blocks during that. And within those 6-week blocks, pretty much everything is staying exactly the same.
Got it.
I mean, we're progressing weight, we're progressing the rep schemes and stuff like that. Some of the
Sure.
plyos we're progressing, but the structure and the workout itself is kind of staying the same. And the reason for that, and we've done longer. I mean, we've
Mhm.
we've done 8, we've done 9, we've done 10 where we don't change a whole lot. There's a skill component with exercises,
Right.
right? And if you're introducing something to someone for the first time, or maybe even they're within a year or two of starting training, stuff like that, the
Yep.
chances that they've learned the skill enough of it to
Yep.
really maximize the production from adding the weight and that kind of stuff probably isn't there yet. And
Sure.
so
Yeah.
a lot of people want to have variety just to have variety and make it fresh, but also I think you're leaving a lot on the table because you got
Mm.
to let your athletes get good at something before they can actually like use it in a way that they're going to get stronger and they're going to get more capable. So we
Yeah.
we keep things pretty much the same within those blocks, and then when we go to that next 6-week period, not a whole lot's really changing, just tweaks. Where we
Sure.
might do something a different way, right? We might
Yeah.
take a one of our explosive exercises and just make it a drop catch instead of from the floor. Same
Yeah.
thing, but just slightly different. And again, with that, it all builds on itself. But if you don't have that baseline skill in the lift, in that exercise, it's hard to make adjustments to it and do something a little bit more advanced. So I
That
would say
makes sense.
high school level, less change is probably for the best. And just let your athletes get good at stuff.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
once they get good at it, then you can start tweaking, then you can start adding to it, then you can start making it a little bit more difficult variations.
I like that. Matter of fact, I was just listening to a audiobook, and they said that the biggest detriment to success isn't failure, it's boredom. And in
Right.
order, right? And they said that in order to be successful, you got to love boredom. Meaning that just the routine, and over that 6 week, if you're doing bench press, squats, RDLs, whatever it might get boring. But man, they are the basis of a lot of things
Right.
moving forward,
Yep.
right?
Those fundamentals are huge. And it's also, I mean, we found a lot of success with trying to get our athletes to understand that like the 1 rep max is not the end all be all, you got stronger.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
So
Yep.
we kept, let's say over a 6-week period, we do 5 sets of 5 on bench the entire way through. We just keep
Yep.
it 5 sets of 5.
Right.
If you end up doing more weight on that last set on week 8, than you did on week one, two, and three, you got stronger.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
If we're using our velocity trackers on the barbells, if you're able to do the same weight, but you're moving it faster, guess
Yep.
what? Like you also got stronger. So there's a
Wow.
lot of ways
Oh,
that we can get our athletes to understand that like you are progressing, even
right.
though it might be boring to you, but like we are making gains all the way through, and it doesn't just have to be, oh, I one rep this at the end, and that's the only way that I understand I got stronger.
Man, you just, see what I mean? I always learn something from you. I didn't even realize the velocity of the of the lift. How do you even measure that? That's pretty cool, man.
There's a whole lot of systems now. Here we have Vitruve VBT. I mean, but there's a whole bunch of them. And that's really like once our athletes reach a certain level, we want to use that to program more than we use percentages. I don't know if it'd be great for like a high school population,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
once we have athletes that are really competent in the lifts and they've reached a certain percentage of their body weight that they can hit, we tend to go way more towards the velocity of the barbell than we do percentages.
That is seriously one of the coolest things I've heard.
Yeah, you got to check it out. It's
No doubt.
cool. And like the coolest thing about it, I think, I mean, you can track the velocities and you can do all that, but just from like when stuff's being tracked,
Yeah.
whether you're doing like speed timing or velocity on the bars or anything like that, they work a lot harder. And
Wow.
so when we track the bar speed, every single rep is max intent because they see a number, they want a bigger number. Does
Yes.
that
Yeah.
make sense? Like
Yes. It
and
makes
that's really all
complete
you have to
sense.
tell them. Just like I want you to be at this number by rep five, and they go hard. But if you're just doing like a normal set of five, the first two might be hard, and then they're like, okay, I kind of got this, and then they kind of cakewalk it the rest of the way through. So that's been a huge help for us to like I said, maximize productive effort. Just get
Yeah. Yeah.
push that thing as hard as they can every single rep. It's been awesome.
Now, along with that, when you see progression that way, it's a fun thing to see your personal progression. And I know we've used competitions before. Uh, do you look at competition in the weight room as healthy or detrimental? And let me explain. So, let's say the person is they're deadlifting 225 and another person that might weigh 98 pounds is not doing that. So we do it by percentage of weight and then do the contest like that. Do you find benefit in having contests to increase motivation in the weight room as well, or in any setting, plyometrics, cardio, what have you?
I think it's tough. It's great, but it's also tough because, like you just
Sure.
mentioned, you have so many differences
Yeah.
between athletes, right? And I mean, it can be as simple as like two guys that are the same weight
Yeah.
have different bone structures, and one of
Yes.
them might be really good at a certain squat, and the other one just can't squat well. They're
Yeah.
just not set up to do it, and then that one's looking at the other one put up 400 pounds, and they're like, "Why I can't do
Yeah.
that?" That kind of stuff. With the bar speed stuff, though, we do find we can do that a lot easier because
Yeah.
you can take one athlete's 80% on a lift, the other athlete's 80% on the lift, who can move it faster.
Right.
That makes
Right.
sense. It kind of takes out the differences in strength that are naturally going to exist. Same
Yeah.
thing with speed type stuff. I mean, we've tried a whole bunch of different ways to get competition, and it's good to have races and chases and play tag and stuff like that. But you're always going to have your guys and girls that are fast,
Yes. Yep. Yep.
fast, and then you don't want to create a situation where it's like down putting for someone who's like, well, I just can't run like that.
Yeah.
So we try to encourage a lot of competition against yourself, essentially. Like
Right.
you have your time, let's compete against that time and don't worry so much about everyone else that's going around you.
Oh, I love this. Man, this is very educational to me because I'm already looking at this is how I'm going to do things different. Well, and we've talked about the weight room, we've talked about just the physical conditioning. What do you think about the diet? And the reason I bring that up is we'd run conditioning and or the weight room, and you'd have people puking. I go, what are you doing? I go, I just had I had a cheeseburger, or even worse, Twinkies. I just had a Twinkie eating contest. And just, are you smoking? And what part do you see diet in playing for optimal strength and conditioning? But also, what any recommendations of how you would monitor any of the diet and intake, food intake there?
Right. Importance wise, critical, I would
Mm,
say.
yeah,
We have kind of a thing here where we talk about you have training, you have your nutrition, you have your recovery, and it's like a
mm,
tripod, right?
I
Where if
like
you
it.
you
Yeah,
kick out one of those legs, it doesn't stand as well, right? It's kind of wobbly, it's kind of uncertain. You take out two of those legs, you can train as hard as you possibly can. You can put all the effort into it. You can have the perfect program. You're not going to get much out of it if you don't have the nutrition, you don't have the recovery on the backside.
it's
And so
so true.
it's so
Yeah.
true. And
Oh
that's a
my.
lot of, we've tried really, really hard here to emphasize those second two things. When I came in, it was a very, everyone trained hard, everyone worked really hard. But
Right.
again, we were really lacking on the nutrition side and the recovery side. How you want to figure out how to do it for the athletes is going to be probably the tough part. Um,
Right.
if you're at a Power Four school and you can literally hand them the food
Yeah.
and this is what you're going to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it's a lot easier, right? And you have a
Yeah.
dietitian figuring all that out. At our level, in the high school level, we try to rely on education, right? And just making those resources as available as possible. With that, I mean, you're gonna have a subset of the team that's gonna do it,
Yes. Yep.
and have a
Yep.
subset of the team that no matter what you say, they're gonna show up having eaten like two bags of Doritos and a Pepsi, and they're thrown up on the field during the warm up, and you're just like what are we doing, man? And then you're gonna have a group that's kind of in the middle, and with all of that kind of stuff, we really want to try to have the group that's in the middle go towards the group that's doing it right and try to
Right.
try to use those people as the example of like, look how like well this is working and the
Yeah.
gains that they're making and like these are some of the reasons why. And you can see
Right.
it in the ones that are successful. We've actually created an app here that will have our individual team schedules built into it, and they can open it up, they can look at basically based off what their schedule is per day, how much of the macros they should be getting, and that will
Holy.
fluctuate. Protein and fats are kind of the same all the
Yeah.
time. I mean, those don't move as much, but your water intake level, and then also your carbs is going to fluctuate depending on what you have. So if you have a rest day that might be a little bit lower, but if that rest day is followed by back-to-back game days, it's a little bit higher. Hard
Sure.
practice, hard training, like that all factors into it. So they can pull that up and they can see across the week their whole schedule, but it will also give them a sample schedule of what to do throughout the day. Like when should you have breakfast? When should you
Yeah.
have a pre-training snack? When do you
Oh,
want your lunch? Like that kind of stuff. And like I said, the people that use it and
yeah.
want to use it and want to get better at that stuff have really liked it. And then we're just trying to get more of the athletes moving towards using it as often as possible.
Man, you got to get that out to the general public. That sounds awesome, man.
Yeah, that's working. We're working through some bugs.
Yeah.
It's a homemade app, so I mean we're strength lifters. So some of these things have been a bit of a trip to try to put together. But we're getting there. We're working out the bugs and it's been going well for us. But the same thing with the recovery, like that other piece,
Yeah.
part of that app basically just has like our recovery pyramid,
Yep.
basic information on what these things are, what they do, what they help with. So like your cold tub, your sauna, your hot tub, foam rolling, active recovery, all that
Yeah.
stuff. But the biggest thing is just we got to get the kids to sleep better and more.
Oh my goodness. I have teenagers. That's why I'm laughing. And
Yeah, that's
we
square one. I mean,
it's
you could do all of the stuff, like all the other recovery
yeah.
methods, and like if you're sleeping 4 hours a night, man, like
Oh,
it
it'll ruin them.
is what it is.
We had just the other day we had morning touch. That just started and it's just a pickup games, right? 7 o'clock in the morning. They roll in. of course, I always ask him what times you get to bed. 2 o'clock. I go, are you nuts? You nuts. But I mean, we're completely off season right now. It's just for fun. But man, it's funny how you can negate that. Just
Yep.
wow. Well, how about your favorite pre-practice meal or snack, and then even post? What are your favorite go-tos?
Go-tos wise, I mean, pre-practice is in my mind, and I mean this is more like general advice, is
Yeah.
something simple and really the blander the better.
Oh,
Uh,
really? Wow. Okay.
yeah. I mean, a athletes are they want things that taste good, and I get that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's from the military experience for me, but like
Right.
sometimes I just don't care about the food. You just eat it because you know you have to eat it.
The calories, right?
That might stem from having to eat like MREs during the week and just being like, whatever, like just eat it. It's food. You have to have it. But for like for pre-practice stuff, blander the better. Something that's simple, like pretzels is a good one. Trail mix is always a good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Banana, an apple, something like that. And
Sure.
then something that's tolerable, right? Like we try to get our athletes to understand that if you have something that's working and
Yep.
you've been doing it for a while and your stomach handles it well and you go out and perform well, don't change it.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I mean, just keep it like that. Post is going to be a different story, and
Yeah.
that kind of depends on what the training day looked like and all that kind of stuff. But we try
Right.
to emphasize getting something high protein right away.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and that might be we might so like some of our sports, the coaches purchase protein, so we have it available right
Right.
after the weight room, and then that's like step one, immediate, and then from there depending again on how much you did during the day, the carbs are going to fluctuate during that meal, but it should
Yeah.
probably be something pretty high carb, a healthy
Yeah.
amount of protein, and then colors, right?
Oh,
You want to have,
colors, the veggies and such. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
fruits and vegetables, something, your plate should be more colorful than brown, essentially. And so we try to go with that kind of just like basic system of get the carbs that you need, get a
Right.
good amount of protein, and have some color in it.
I like that. I like the color factor, man. I do. That would be easy for me. I mean, color looks pleasant on the plate, that's for sure. Boy, oh boy. And then protein, that's a question that I have. So usually I just do uh just a protein shake. And is that all right? I just post recovery there because I know that I'm not I don't eat a lot of steak, but I do eat a lot of chicken and fish.
Okay.
That type of thing though too. But would you recommend post recovery there and then go into a meal right after that as well, or how would that work?
I think that's great for right after protein
Oh,
shakes.
okay.
I don't think you don't need the meal immediately.
Okay, got it.
Like
Yep.
if you get that protein in right away or within like an hour or so, that can hold for a little bit, and then the meal can come a little bit later.
Okay.
We try to emphasize eating something every 2 hours, every two
Okay.
to 3 hours, and so I mean, you do your workout, and let's say it's a hard workout, right? And people
Yeah.
are, they're sweaty, they're tired. Like I don't want to sit down and eat
Yeah.
steak and mashed potatoes and right, you know what I mean? You just don't want
Yeah.
to do that. Uh, but you have something to kind of fill that gap, whether it's a protein shake, protein bar, anything like that, and then you can have a little bit of time from that before you sit down and have the main meal.
Yeah, yeah. I know this is just basic stuff I'm asking. It's just great to hear it from you.
Yeah.
Because this is stuff that either docs have told me or with the health influencers and such, but just to hear it from the basis of someone that has seen every level of athlete from starter to near going into the pros, it's good to hear. So thank
The
you for that.
basics that work with the nutrition stuff, it really
Yeah.
is. It's just like you said earlier about training, it's boring.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part about it is people don't want to be in the routine of just doing the same thing over and over and over. But
Yeah.
those little consistent victories are at the end of the day, you build a lot over time.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that because there's another guest. They said that everyone in he it's pro level rugby. He said that everyone knows each other's plays. It's just a micro execution. Is every if you could pass better and you could pass and then pass again, it's the one that does the micro executions better that will get ahead. And when I heard that, it's like, wow, it really does go back to the basics, man.
Everything. I mean, training too. I mean, regardless of the program or the coach or the consistency over time is what's going to make it work, right?
Man,
And so it's if you can stay consistent and you have a plan, it could be literally anything, but you have a plan and you stick to it and you do that over and over and over and over and over time, these things they tend to work out well. And we see that here. I mean, our athletes usually make a really big jump sophomore, junior year,
right.
right? Because freshman year is kind of chaotic,
Sure.
everything
Yeah.
new. They tend to leave for the whole first summer, so we don't see them for a while. But then that sophomore summer going to junior year, then you really start to see things like click for athletes, and they're
Right.
almost like different humans at that point. And it's just staying on them. It's being consistent over time.
Oh, that's so fantastic. No, I thank you for all these nuggets of wisdom. I've always enjoyed speaking with you and hearing all these different things that people can learn from. I hope they take it and then apply it. Well, I'm going to ask you, what are your final nuggets of wisdom and anything else that you want to leave with the audience there?
Okay. Final nuggets of wisdom, other than what we've covered already.
Yeah.
Let me think for a second on that one. That's a tough question. Well, the consistency over time is a pretty big one. From a coaching perspective, I'm going to go back into the maximizing the productive effort a little bit more, and this is going to be more for coaches that listen to this.
Yeah.
Um, I think one of the biggest things you can do to set up success for your team, whether it's off season, in season, something like that, is set your schedule in a way that things kind of feed off of each other. And then what I mean by that is, from my point of view, from strength and conditioning, I'm going to go into some speed type stuff.
Yeah.
If we have like a speed workout planned where we want to emphasize whether it's like max velocity or acceleration or something like that, if we kill them in the weight room or practice the day before,
Yep.
we're not going to get really anything out of that next day, right?
Yes.
And if we go really, and then if that just ends up being like a bad conditioning day, then we've lost the next day on top of it. And then you just kind of have this like steamroll effect of you're digging a hole and you're not really building what you want to build. And so I think one of the biggest things you can do is just, sit down with the team and kind of figure out a way to make this schedule work to where every day is productive in the way that it needs to be. And you can move that stuff around. And if you have a plan like that, plans are easy to adjust, right?
Yeah.
It's when you don't have a plan on paper and the chaos of sports happens where schedules change,
Mhm.
people miss workouts, and stuff comes up. And if you don't have that initial layout on paper, it's really hard to recover from it. You can't adapt as well. But if you have like the full plan laid out, it's really easy to switch stuff around, make sure you're getting the stuff you need to get done, like all that kind of stuff.
Man, Max, thank you very much for all of that. Those are some awesome nuggets of wisdom, and I've always appreciated you, and thank you for taking the time. I know you're a
Yeah,
busy man.
I appreciate you having me on. It's good to see you a couple weeks ago, and we'll stay in touch.